Welcome to a review of something you don't see too often, a pair of lightsabers from Sabers.com. Both of these are not mine. One of them was bought by my brother and the other one was bought by me for like a 2-year Christmas and birthday combination gift, because these things are really expensive. So yeah, it has to be 4 gifts in one, and he decided to buy another one himself. I'm going to take a look at some of the options and some of the things that we've chosen here. Now both of these handles are the same. They're not the cheapest, but they're probably like the second or third cheapest. They have some really fancy lightsaber handles there, and obviously they cost way too much for my budget range. So for one of the first Ultra Sabers, something that we never got before, I decided to get pretty much almost the cheapest one for my brother to see how that goes. The ones we have here have their latest soundboard, like the 4.0, the Obsidian, as well as the different color lights. So we talk about that a little bit more in the video. But just by looking at this handle, oh yes, we'll also compare this with one of the older ForceFX lightsabers that I mentioned. I've also done a review of previously on this channel. So we have our basic lightsaber here. Sorry for the lack of videos and dust. Our home's being renovated, new wallpapers and stuff. A lot of dust going on here. Ooh, probably should have cleaned this before the video. Better. So yes, we have one of our basic options here. Now one of the things that makes it not the cheapest model is that I decided to get one with this little window there, just so it looks a little bit nicer. So there's a nice window here so the light will shine through, and carry on down. This whole main body is a single piece of metal. It's a big sort of metal tube, and of course it's got the switch right there. That's for the power functions, and the rest of it is a very simple design, very basic and linear design until you get to the bottom here, where I've added the option for this piece here. That's for clicking it onto the holder that can attach to your belt buckle. Again, that's an optional piece. So if you do go for the cheapest option, there's no window at the top and you're not going to get this little piece here. And you can also go with stunt sabers where they have no chips whatsoever inside, just a pure metal tube. Those are quite cheap, so really the expensive part is the light effects to create the lightsaber effect, as well as the sound card. Those are the expensive pieces, because they all have sensors and stuff, and of course they, a really bright LED light. I think it's an LED, could be, maybe not, light to make it look good for photo shoots and cosplays and whatnot. But as the most basic models, those are quite affordable, because I wanted something to have the light and the sound, so that's what I went with. So as an optional part here, I'm just going to show this clip here. Very simple basic sort of plastic clip that clips on your belt right there, because nothing's stopping it from falling off, so you still got to be a little bit careful. And you have a little, the rest of it's mostly plastic, and you just slide the lightsaber in. Oop. Okay, and it clips in, it doesn't fall out. If you want to unplug the lightsaber, you have to push down on these 2 tabs and slide that out. So that's, again, an optional piece. Obviously, if you buy this, you're going to get the clip along with it. You're not just going to buy one or the other. I mean, I think you can, but... So both of the lightsaber hilts have this piece. We've got 2 pieces there. I'm going to put that in the back there. And so here's... let's compare this with the ForceFX lightsaber. And as you can see here, the size of these are very similar. This is the Anakin lightsaber, which is now a very, you can see, well, this one's a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner, and I think that's a good thing, because while these are meant to be as quite close to the movie proportions, I think they're still a little bit off. This feels more like a proper size, so that's good. The ForceFX lightsaber does have a clip there. Let's see if this clip works on it. Oh, it does. Hey, it stays in there. That's pretty cool. It's compatible. So if you do have one of these, unfortunately the blade is not going to detach, so it's going to be a little bit awkward hanging this from your belt. So let's get that out of the way. Now by default this comes with 3 types of blades that you can choose. Obviously the longer the blade, the more expensive it's going to be. So you have the really short blade here. You see how short that is? Almost just only a little bit longer than the lightsaber hilt. You can also buy individual blades later on. Like the longest one is the same size as the ForceFX lightsaber, so like 34 inches or something, I think. And you also have the medium-sized one right here. If you buy a medium-sized one, comes with a little plastic nub on the back for protection. So that's good, but the regular ones don't come with that. So, And you have pointy tip and round tip. It's just like a little sort of matte colored thing on the end, which is good as matte color because the light in there is very bright. It will blind someone, so you have to be really careful with it if you're not. If you don't have anything plugged in it, don't shine this at someone's eyes. So you've got the matte ending on there. The pointy one's also matte finish, and if you look inside here, you see it's just a white creamy tube, which is effective for making it look like a lightsaber. And one more thing is that they also have optional sort of dueling sabers. Those are thicker and of course are going to be dimmer because it's thicker, so less light is going to show through. So we've got two of these lightsabers there. In order to get the battery out, you just unscrew the end there, just like the ForceFX lightsaber. So you unscrew that, roll that out. You see the hole down here. There are options where there isn't a hole because the sound isn't going to come out because you're blocking it. This is also just a thick piece of metal. So a lot of the money comes from forging these metal pieces. That's where a lot of the price goes. And what you have to do is you just somewhat tighten the end. This one's a bit better. Easy to shake out the battery pack, but this one's a little bit tighter. And inside here you can see we pull out a chipset. Now, like I said, this one has sound and light. So there's two chips in here. You got one side here. I don't know which one's which. Okay, this one's the light chips, there's LED there. And there's a USB tab there, the same one you have on like your PS3 controllers and whatnot, the older type of mini USB, not the newer one that you get with Android phones, and you have one here. This one's for the sound chip, this one's for the light chip. And you can see it looks quite DIY, it's just a bit of tape on the end protecting it. So if you're not careful, you keep tugging and pulling on this, you can pull the wires out and destroy everything. So you got to be really careful. Don't put anything more than that. And obviously, if you want, the best thing about the sound chip and the light chip here is that you can change the colors on your computer. That's why the USBs are there. So you plug this into your computer. There's a Ultra Saber app on your computer, and it's quite easy to use. And you can choose the sounds and lights. Now the thing with lights is you can only change it on the PC, you cannot change it on the fly, whereas the sound chip you can save up to something like 10 or 15 profiles depending on the size. There's a limited memory there, and you can store those in there, and I'll show you in a moment how you can cycle through the different sound effects. But my brother has not installed any new sound effects on here, but you can easily create your own. That's also very easy to use. You open up profile and it says swing, hit, or standby, and then you put the sound in you want, and it'll create a sound file for this chip. So you can make a sound out of anything. You can have like, I don't know, Cartman's voice, or like maybe you can make a giggity saber and just have Quagmire's giggity going on when it's humming. You can do that, it doesn't matter. Just stick some MP3s on and there you go. So be careful with this chip, and then you know, slide back in. These batteries are also optional. The charger is also optional, but these are good batteries for these, and they're highly recommended. And the charger and batteries do not mix with regular AAA, AA batteries. You need to be careful with that. You know, make sure you use it in the right slot. So you just roll that up, and there you go. So that's the basic lightsaber hilts. Now my brother set these with two colors. Here's another option part. A little nub there if you don't want these to be displayed with a lightsaber hilt, lightsaber like sword. You can buy one of these and plug it in. There's also a few other more expensive ones with a little pattern engraved into it. I went with the cheapest one because the whole point of getting one of these is to protect your eyes when it doesn't have a tube plugged into it. So I got two of these. I'll show a few more things that my brother decided to buy. Now you have one of these tools here, which is optional. You just use any regular sort of 1 to 6-sided little screw head, and this is to keep the saber in the hilt. You can see you can just unscrew that and unplug these tubes and plug in an actual lightsaber. Let's see. My brother bought this optional part. It's got some holes in it, and it's plugged in. It's double-sided. You can use this to connect both sabers together to make a dual-wielded saber. There's also this long tube piece. I'm going to zoom out now. This is a standard sort of extension tube. And you can see it looks pretty much just like the regular thing, just without any hardware inside. This is a hollow tube. It's empty. You see through it. This is a basic tube, and this piece comes with it, a short one. So it's like a combo pack. You can either have a long one or a short one. And the idea is if you plug this into the body here, and you plug the main lightsabers onto it, and you plug in one of the shorter lightsabers, You can create sort of a saber staff that you see in Star Wars. They're not using lightsabers, it's just like a little stick with a little electric bit on the end, and that's the idea of these, so you can get these as well. So this is the charger we have. There is a slightly cheap option on the charger where it doesn't have a display on it, but this is pretty much a USB powered charger. It does come with a socket, but it's not necessary. You can just plug this into any USB port that can give out enough energy for it to charge these batteries, and these are lithium-ion batteries, so they're not your regular rechargeable batteries, which is why it needs to be stressed that you cannot plug regular rechargeable batteries in it, because that will damage the batteries or the charger. And this one has a display on it telling what percent is each battery, so you know how much left you need to charge or how much battery you have left. So you can, again, basic batteries do come with the Saber, but of course you can as an option buy extra chargers and extra batteries for these. So, let's finally turn these on. Currently, I have these lightsabers set to silent mode, just so you can see the light. So with these nubs in, just going to turn that on. And you see on the camera, that's really bright. And the effect on that is also really good on the camera as well. I am not looking at the thing right now, because even with this tip on, it does hurt my eyes to look directly at it. So these tips are very important. You see, oh, the whole camera is on auto now, so everything's gone black. So he's gone with a orangey green light, and I might notice that there's a pulse going on. Yep, look, you see it's pulsing. That's an option that you can set with the app. If you don't want the pulse, you don't need to. So that's basic standby, sort of like light on mode. And if I shake it, it should do a clash. Look, it's got a purple clash if I shake it in a certain way. See, look. Okay, purple, there you go, that's when it's supposed to hit. If you do have the long bar in there and you hit it against something, you need to hit it a little bit hard to get that effect going. If I push the button again, that puts it in sort of a permanent clashing mode, so that's really good for cosplay when you have two people where they have the lightsabers clashing against each other. Again, every color you see here can be so standby color, pulse color, and the sort of hitting against each other, so that color, that's all manually set with the app. So he's gone with orange and purple, so that's kind of cool. If you want to turn it off, you hold it down. Okay, the other one, he set that to, I think, blue, okay, or greenish blue, and he's going to pulse like a lightish purple blue. There you go. Push it again. Yeah, it's got like a reddish purple blue. So you see here the LED in there is very powerful. So that's why I'm insisting that you don't, put your eye in it. Okay, so next feature is of course the sounds that you have. My brother has stored in here. Like I said, these are the default sounds that come with it. But on their site, there's a page full of different sound profiles, as well as a forum, and there's a sound forum. So people will upload the sounds that they make themselves. So in order to swap the sound, when it's turned off, hold down the button, and it should launch into the Obsidian sound chip. Okay, because I'm in silent mode, it's not saying the Obsidian word, so let's go through the sounds then. Oh, that's how. Anyway, it's in there now, so, Black Star. Black Star? I think that's Sith Saber. Ancient Saber. Ancient Saber. Episode 1. Episode 2. Episode 2. Episode 6. Episode 6. That's the silent mode. So let's go with standard. Should be hold down to confirm.
Confirm.
So we have the basic lightsaber sound here. The turn on sound is especially loud, but this saber is quite loud as well. If you're going to compare sounds to see which one is louder, I'm going to turn on the ForceFX lightsaber now. Standby mode is almost the same, but that power on sound is really loud. It kind of hurts my ears, but the power off sound as well. But you probably set that in the profile. Like if you have your own profile, you can set the volume of the MP3s and all that. So I much prefer the sound on the regular one. Let's go for the sounds then. Black Star. Black Star.
Confirm.
He's got much more that sound. Sith saber now.
Ancient saber.
Confirm.
Turn off. There you go. That's Ancient Saber.
Ancient saber. Episode 1.
Confirm.
Episode 1. Episode 2.
Confirm.
Episode 2. Episode 6.
Confirm.
Reminds me of Dark Forces 2 Giant Eye. I think that's the sound they went with. Okay, so yeah, that's all of them with the different sounds by default. I'm sure everyone wants to see these with the like the lights intact, like the actual bar in. So I'm gonna show you here. You just quickly unscrew this, and then just let this piece fall out, and then you get one of those blades. I'm gonna get one of the longer ones, and just slide that all the way in. Oh, I can see my brother's been screwing this a little bit too hard. There's a little bit of dent in there. So I'm just gonna line that dent up, I guess. But it doesn't matter. These bars are actually relatively cheap compared to the Hilts with all the sounds and stuff. So if you just want some prop sabers and stuff, you can easily get some of those, or you can just replace them if needed. Now we have our medium blade and our short blade in store, and then of course I'll bring in the ForceFX lightsaber here. And now obviously, since the light is only at the tip, we're not going to get the extension or retraction of the lightsaber when we activate and deactivate it. So that's something that we're going to lose, which is of course we do have with the original ones here. But of course these blades aren't detachable, which once you break it, that's it. You're not going to just the hilt is useless without the blade. So I'm going to turn these on and just compare the brightness. You see that looks, now from my eyes, okay, the camera has adjusted to the light, and that's what looks like my eyes right now, but if you set your camera to manual, as you see when it just powered on, the light was very bright, looked like an actual lightsaber. You don't have to do any photoshopping. So I'm going to turn on one of the short blade first, actually. And you can see that's so much brighter than the ForceFX one, but of course if you have the dual lightsaber where it's a lot thicker, it's probably going to be just as bright as the ForceFX one. So we're going to turn on the long blade now. Ooh, that looks really that looks weird. It's blue in front of me, but it's all greeny and stuff. You see there the light is equal all the way to the end. Okay, so I've set everything to manual right now. Let's see if I turn this back higher to make it brighter. Okay, this is about average brightness of the room. Let's turn on the middle saber. And there you go. Okay, so you can see that's a very bright. Let me turn on the other ones again. And you see, yep, they all look really good underneath the camera. And because depending on the color, for example, that orangey yellow one, that looks really bright. So you can probably hear right now, you can't hear it. The middle attachment piece, and you can hear that the sound's complete. So I'm just going to unscrew this, and then you'll hear the sound coming out. See, very loud. You hear out one of the holes. Okay, I got the long, medium blade on one side and the short blade on the other. You can see it looks really cool. And here we are with all the attachments plugged together. See, it is ridiculously long. It just looks a bit silly. Maybe it's even fitting in the camera. Yeah, that looks a bit silly. I guess you could just buy 10 more of these attachments and have a really long bar of like 2 tiny lightsabers on each end. But that's something you can do. And yeah, it's pretty great. So is this for you? Now, if you're just looking to make a fan movie or something like that, prop sabers are definitely okay. Just get the prop saber, no electronics inside, and you can add the digital effects in afterwards. But of course, you're not going to get that glow on the face, so you might at least just want the lights. If you only want the lights, that's still not too expensive. But it's really the most expensive part is the sound chip and all the other attachments. You know, each attachment doesn't cost too much, but the more you get, it builds up to something that's quite expensive. And we just want to see this light here from a distance, and then I'll bring in the ForceFX lightsaber. Now the ForceFX lightsaber is a cheaper option because you also have the plastic one. I'm going to turn these off now. You also have the plasticky kitty Hasbro version toy FX lightsaber, which do look quite good, but the handlebar is quite big and it's all plasticky and stuff. And that's definitely not that good for fighting, and because once you snap it, you gotta buy a new one altogether. If you snap one of these, you just get a replacement tube, and those are quite cheap. So for stunts in movies or cosplaying purposes, these are great because you can actually hook them to your side and not worry about having a giant blade sticking out. And so if you're going for those, and these are great lightsabers. If you're just collective or something to display, or you just want something like a movie prop, then the ForceFX lightsaber might be better for you. For someone who's really serious about swinging these around and actually playing around with lightsabers, these are pretty good. There are other lightsaber custom people out there, but I don't know if they're any good or not. But so far, these, for the price you paid for, they seem like something that will last a while. So that's something to consider. And they always have discount period, so never pay full price for these. Wait for that discount period and get one of these and see how that goes. So yeah, pretty cool. Now, one thing this lightsaber doesn't have is, of course, sensors in the actual bar because it is a plastic tube, meaning that sometimes it's quite hard to see. You're not getting the clash, which is much easier to achieve with the ForceFX lightsaber of any of the toy sabers. Come on, see? So basically, what the function, the sensor is a sudden shake. You see, now it's doing the clash. So if I do, see, that's doing it. But of course, that is useful when you want to say, "Hey, I'm going to deflect some laser blasters," and you suddenly shake it. And you can do that. But of course, this also has that that clashing function. You push the button again, and it activates the clashing function, which is very useful for when you're doing like cosplaying or filming in purposes. So that's pretty cool. And of course, yeah, I'm turning these on in the dark because that's awesome. Ooh! Now they're both clashing. That's really cool. You did it quite well.